Daily Game Face. I am Dr. Kim Lannon, operatic today, aren't I?
I know. I just couldn't get us live quickly enough.
I know you wanted to so bad.
Yep.
I was exercising my vocal cords this morning. In with the good, out with the bad, and singing at the top of my lungs, which I won't do because it will probably blow the mic. You thought it was funny though.
I thought it was funny. I wanted to get it out live.
I know. It was very good. I'm on key, aren't I?
Well, you kind of picked a key, so.
Well, thanks. I know, but I was.
You weren't attaching to anything else.
Well, so it's a key.
Whatever
C.
key you picked was good.
I picked the key of C, the general straightforward key. There it was.
There you were.
So yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
On this beautiful Wednesday, it's lovely out.
Rocky didn't even look at you, did he?
Rocky is.
He's kind of used to it.
He's looking at the wall. Really, he's used to it. No, I was just telling the ladies downstairs that his shrill bark is ever epic, and it goes right through you when he barks.
I haven't heard his bark. So
that's what they were saying, but I said, "Well, you should come be with me for a while because." If the UPS truck comes, if the FedEx truck comes, if someone runs by, if there's a little creak in the floor in my office,
We have a new refrigerator that when the motor stops, it kind of shudders.
Yeah. Oh, it goes right.
And the dog thinks it's a mouse.
Oh,
it's like every time.
And so it is.
He thinks we're being invaded.
And then he barks.
Oh,
good.
Yep.
Well,
but it's really fun because the cats scatter. As soon as he starts running, the cats know the drill, so they just take off.
Yeah, because they're smart.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, God, the dog's having a moment.
Exactly.
Cataplexy. Ha ha. Get it? Yeah. Well, anyway, it was a beautiful morning today here. It's not too hot.
It's good.
It's not too cool. It's like a perfect, beautiful summer day. Amazing. And we are not even at summer yet.
I know. What,
officially.
Sunday?
Yes. Father's Day.
When?
Father's Day. Sunday.
Father's Day. Okay.
Yes. The official start of the summer solstice is on Sunday.
Nice.
Yes. So I'll be in, I can't say where I'll be because that would be weird, but I'll tell you next week. I almost blurted it out. I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell people because then, I'll have, what about Bob moment? When you remember that movie?
Yes,
What About Bob? And he shows up and he's up at Lake Winnipesaukee with poor Richard Dreyfuss as his psychiatrist, just like, and he makes Richard, completely twitch.
So you're at Winnipesaukee?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be. Sure. I'll send you. Yes, I'll be at Winnipesaukee this weekend.
Yeah.
I will be at a wedding this weekend.
Nice.
I haven't been to a wedding in a while. This is going to be an epic wedding. Yeah. It's going to be fabulous.
It would take a lot to get me to a wedding right now.
Why?
It's a lot of socializing. Oh. A lot of dressing up. That's a lot of socializing. A lot of travel.
This is a nighttime formal wedding, so it is it will be an epic. That's what I said. It's epic. It's not one of the, morning, which I don't really see those anymore, or midday. It's a full on, and it's double. It's like the wedding and the reception, and then there's an 11 to 1 a.m. after party and an extra event. So I don't know if I'm gonna make it to that because I want to actually enjoy Newport. Oh, there it is. I knew I was going to slip. It was too hard.
Right. Well,
now people know where I am.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And we can't reel that back. Oh, well. It's Winnipesaukee.
It's Winnipesaukee.
What about Bob?
Newport, New Hampshire.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, too late. But anyway, but it's going to be beautiful there this weekend.
I'll bet. So
I'm very excited because I haven't been there in a while. So it'll be nice.
Good time for a wedding.
I know, right? It'll be hopping.
Someone's got some bucks.
Yeah. It's going to be epic. Yep. It's going to be very nice. And it's on a weekend that when you had to book the room, if you want to go anywhere near that town this weekend, forget it. Yeah. Because it was quadruple, and I'm not exaggerating, quadruple the price of the normal rate of the room because of the weekend, because it's a
June weekend.
It's a June holiday weekend. June holiday weekend, and also because it's Father's Day. So it's, it's on the, it's on the seaport. It's got, the things, people taking the ferry over to Block Island, the whole 9 yards. So here we are. Wow. Anyway, so
it's a lot.
Yeah. So anyone that wants to find me, I'll be in Winnipesaukee. Oh yeah. I never slip like that either. Damn it. Oh, well, you'll be hard pressed to find me.
Yep.
It's very private.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of people there.
People keep asking me if it's Taylor Swift's wedding. And I keep saying, no, I think she's already married, but she is getting married, I believe, July 3rd.
You think they're already married?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
You know or you think?
I think.
Okay.
I don't know, but I think. And no, so I keep saying, no, this is not Taylor Swift's wedding. I do know where her house is. I have seen her house. It's beautiful. It's on the edge. She bought the old, it's very new, but the old Ernie Bach house.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful house. But yeah, it's not like everybody down there doesn't know that it's her house because people just stalk her house constantly. They drive by. It's very easy to get to.
She doesn't mind being known.
She does not. She has no problem with it. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so easy for it not to always be a thing in the press with her, because she just is so, easygoing. It's lovely.
That's one word.
It's lovely or easygoing?
No, easygoing.
I think she is easygoing. You don't think so?
I think there's a lot going on.
Well, she's a very complicated woman because she's a businesswoman, so she's like a one woman show like I am, even though she's got a team.
Right.
She does all of her own things. So she's involved with everything. She doesn't get micromanaged. She does her thing.
There's an intensity there.
Yeah. Well, and it made her quite successful.
God,
I have to say. Didn't she just make the first youngest woman in the Hall of Fame for something the other day?
Don't know.
Yeah, she did. Earlier this week, I want to say on Sunday or Monday.
Don't always love her stuff, but she's a great songwriter.
She is.
It's always
like
good.
all of her songs. Well, you can't.
No, I'll say the same thing in Prince. It's like I don't love everything he does, but he's a genius.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that he had a little drug problem that we didn't know about. But minus that.
Well,
it happens. Unfortunately.
Are you shocked?
No, for a hot second, I actually was, just because he always came across as such a anti that, and then he wasn't.
Yeah.
So, and then when I saw his documentary, I was like, well, that now it makes sense to me. It all makes sense, right? Given the fact that he had such an abuse history growing up, given what I've talked about on the show, right? It does not surprise me that he had a problem. The fact that he kept saying for years that he never had a problem, that he didn't do that and all these things, and he didn't do drugs, and then to find out he actually was, that was like, oh, interesting. So, but it is what it is. It's the culture.
We're off into the woods here, but do you think he did it all along, or was there a period of time? Because I think there was a period of time when he was clean.
I think there was a lot. I mean, because I watched the documentary, so I'm very biased now. But the documentary would suggest that he had a long period of time where there was nothing going on, and then he kind of got sort of wrapped into some pain medication and stuff. So, and then that kind of went on, and that's what happens if you watch any of the original creations of the opiate crisis and all the things on hydrocodone and and all those things. That's how it happened.
People guy Tom Petty.
Yeah, they have like a back
with
surgery,
a broken hip,
right? A back surgery, a shoulder. All my athletes, that had that problem, and then they get this little miracle pill. Well, it doesn't take long before it's like, oh, that actually feels great, and now you're off to the races, and it's really super quick. So anyway, unfortunate, but So anyway, we were in the woods, but the woods were good because that's an important topic. But
which brings us to the ease with which doctors prescribe those types of painkillers to teenagers. Frightens me.
Yes. Well, to teenagers,
it's so easy,
and to teenagers, and I just had this discussion with my class last week. Younger than teenagers.
Really?
We were talking about that some of my class was asking me what age I think is appropriate for medicating, first for psych meds and also just kind of general across the board, because some of their family members that they were medicating at 7 and 8 and 9 years old. And I'm like, I personally, in terms of medication and psychopharm and all those things, I keep kids in the behavioral modification mode until they're in their teenage years, and try not to have them ever touch anything unless it's absolutely necessary before the age of 13, 14 years old. And that even then I'm very reluctant, because it's brain development, and it truncates brain development, and
so before you're in your early 20s, it should be a last resort, right?
Yeah, in my clinical opinion,
because of the frontal lobe pruning and replenishing,
executive functioning, impulse control, delayed gratification, all those things. If you're putting in a medication, boy, we really are in the woods today. But if you're putting in a medication that adjusts the development or arrests the development or even moves it in a way that it wouldn't naturally go, that's, you know,
you can atrophy that development.
You can atrophy that development.
Yeah.
Just like too much. That's why it kills me when people are giving their kids tons of caffeine. Like I see little kids with like Mountain Dew. I'm like, stop giving them all that caffeine. Or, you know, you see, you know, all the stuff with the sugar and the processed. Those are all chemicals. Everything changes the body chemistry. So, you know, obviously
middle school kids with Red Bull and it's crazy.
Yes, exactly. So, and it's just so sad, not best word, but the best word I can come up with. It's so sad to see how many kids don't have the knowledge because their parents either don't have the knowledge or just give in for whatever reason. Obviously, there's many to that, and not realize the damage / change in the brain that happens because of all of those things, like a Red Bull with a donut. Like seriously, like, and not because, oh, you're going to get fat. It's really, I mean, yeah, it has to do with that in some people, but it's about all the chemicals that are in those products that change the brain development, you know. And that's not to say like what happens. I mean, there's the huge theory about Alzheimer's. We know that Alzheimer's has huge, strong, empirically validated research that specifically says it's diabetes type 3. So what is diabetes type 3? Well, it's the diabetes of the brain, right? So it's the sugar and all the things that get plaquing around the brain because of food products. So, I mean, that's a whole show that I could do from years ago. Because the woman it was actually in the military that she and her team figured it out years ago. This has got to be 25 years ago that originally came out of like a huge study out of the military in terms of Alzheimer's research. And it's just been growing a body of research ever since. And it's spot on. Like just, you know, that it makes a cognitive change and things. So anyway, we digressed, but that's okay. We were doing something and then we were not in the mode of talking about what we were going to talk about, but that's okay. Cause this is a good topic. So,
and from Rocky to Red Bull.
I know, Rocky to Red Bull. So, but okay. So going back to, we're rising.
Yes.
And we're rising. And so some of the questions that have come up, because people had missed a show and thought we were, oh, did I miss something? And, you know, no, we're all caught up. But then, so what arose during that time, no pun intended, was that people were asking about when things feel stagnant, or that you've sort of drifted off course from the rise, or that you've sort of, you know, here we are in the middle of June and it, you know, you feel like your growth is maybe stalled, or maybe you feel like a little off track, or you're in that mindset of straight path going forward. And what do you do? Right. So this is the time, it's perfect timing of the year, right? Or in the rise moment, you know, you're going to reset. It's about adjusting the growth line. Mm-hmm. So the remembering that you're not on a straight line, you're supposed to like reevaluate. And the first thing I would say is revisit your direction. So here we are, June, let's say 17th.
Yeah.
So revisiting your direction, not just your goals, because the goals change. People always say like, oh, my goal is, and I'm like, your goal is going to change. In a year from now, you're going to have a different goal potentially, because goals become outdated very quickly as circumstances and priorities change. You know, if a financial situation changes, or
as you accomplish gains.
Right, exactly. Yeah. When you stack a win or two, you might shift the goal, and people get really anxious about that, because they think that if that shifts or they have to adjust it, that means somehow they're off track and, oh, now it's over and what am I going to do? And my 5-year plan is off. Like, no, it's about staying in that moment and really staying ongoing with the adjustment to revisit the direction of that goal that you were doing, because it could have changed, and that's totally fine. And being accepting of the fact that you can move those goals. So I
ideally you have more knowledge
than
when you started. So
exactly, because
feel free to readjust your goals
because you've had a win. Mm-hmm. But people get so inflexible around like, but my goal is this. But you can still get there, or you might get somewhere else that's even better because you've had these other things. So I asked one of my clients, you know, what am I trying to move forward or toward the other day? And when you ask specific questions like that, people get stuck. Yeah. You know, it's like, deer in headlights, you know. So I like to ask in this readjustment period is, what am I trying to move toward? Right. And that's in the next month. What am I trying, not in 5 years, what am I trying to move towards this month? What am I trying to gain this month? What matters to me now that may not have mattered to me back in January or a year ago? And I think that those two questions really reset the mindset, because it makes you go back to the original things, right? To figure out, okay, what has changed? What has moved? What have I pivoted on? What have I adjusted? What do I need to adjust? I've had one person completely change their goal because of the stacked wins they had. They realized that they were on the wrong path of the thing that they really actually decided they wanted after doing the first kind of half of this.
It's great.
Like, oh, and it was, and yeah,
it's the way it's supposed to work.
And I was like, yes, that's exactly, because when we first started out, right, which is what happens with many people, they start out and they have this big goal, and then, they don't have the stackable win or the ones that they think they're supposed to have. And then they kind of give up, or, they just keep replaying that same goal going, oh, well, someday I'll get there. And I always say, by osmosis, is it going to just land in your lap? So when you really revisit the direction and not necessarily the goal itself, it's so much easier to move forward. So like if your goal is to buy a house that's a vacation home or a retirement home, if that's your goal and it was to be in Florida, but you decided that maybe all of a sudden you can do it sooner and it's actually on the lake in Winnipesaukee or in Newport, right? It's because something has changed in your adjustment of something that you have had in the moment. It doesn't have to be like, oh, well, I got stuck in this mindset that I have to go to Florida, or I have to go to, Arizona. You can do whatever you want to do if you're revisiting the direction of it. I think I'm moving in this direction, but people think that they have to land somewhere.
And don't a lot of people undershoot?
Yes.
They set a goal that because they're not sure what their capabilities are. And as they get stronger and know more and learn more and move forward, find out I can do more.
And that's why it's so important to, when you find and focus on direction, that becomes more open to you because of what really is the bigger picture, so that you can actually move towards that, because it opens, the opportunities come to you, you have successes from them most of the time. And then that opens more of the doors for you to say, oh my gosh, I can really do this. Or it gets you around resources or other people that, you wouldn't have necessarily been around, that actually have done it and can give you the framework to actually move forward and do it in a way that you never thought you could, because you didn't know how. Because it's not because you couldn't do it, it's because you just didn't know the tools. You didn't have the tools. You didn't think it was possible because you didn't.
The focus attracts resources and help.
Yes. And that is the biggest, that is the biggest thing, is the more you get your focus and your direction, you just attract people that will help you. You'll attract environments that will be supportive of it, and it's not just about people, it's about the whole picture. And it's super important to remember that. So in your stagnation, when you get feeling that stuck, maybe you feel stuck right now, or you feel like you have to change and that scares you because, oh, it's not on my goal. Just review your direction. It's about, sometimes that stagnation comes from pursuing a goal that no longer fits who you have become in, say, the last 6 months. And that's what happened to a few of my clients so far that have been doing this. They're like, it's not fitting what I wanted. And they're like, is that okay? I'm like, of course that's okay. But it feels so foreign to them, because it's like, wait, it's that socialized, I'm supposed to do this. I should do this, instead of it being like, you have grown and things change. So therefore you don't want to do that anymore. You want to do this other thing, and it feels more exciting for you. It feels more fulfilling for you. That's the one you should go towards. But somehow people feel like they're betraying their own goal or their own self in some way, instead of feeling like, I'm actually honoring myself. I'm honoring my growth. I'm honoring the change. And instead of, as I say, sitting in your shit, when you get stagnant and you sit in your shit, then you just sit there and you don't do anything. You ruminate, because then you think you've done something that hasn't moved you forward, and then that gets you stuck.
And they're reluctant to start over.
Yes.
They feel like you got to go back to square one, which is not really what you do.
Right. Exactly. Excuse me for taking my sip of my coffee. So to that point, what you have to do in those moments, and I just had this conversation with my client yesterday, is get really specific with yourself about what has become stagnant. be so, people ethereally, which means globally, think about what has made them stuck. And it's usually externalized. It's never something that they're accountable for or whatever, that they feel like they can't change. But if you get specific about what is stagnant, you can feel like you can open up those doors, because when you're stagnant, it feels narrowing, it feels overwhelming, it feels very much about something very pragmatic, as if you're like, sort of stuck in concrete, instead of it being like, okay, I'm going to be specific. Is it my career? Is it my relationships? Is it creativity? Is it my health? Is it my socioeconomic status? Is it my sense of purpose? That's a big one. Feeling relevant and sense of purpose, more often than not, is what I hear about. Is it really boils down a lot of times to, I don't think I'm making a difference. I don't think it's going to make a difference even in my own life. Is this really, instead of it being like, well, your sense of purpose is that every day when you wake up, you have to have a sense of purpose for your day.
Right.
And people do that longevity thing. What's my sense of purpose down the line, in terms of what's your legacy for today? What is your outcome for today? What are you looking to do? Are you looking to change your life? Are you looking to change someone else's life? Well, that's pretty big, right? But if today it's just to make sure you get X, Y, and Z accomplished, that gives you a sense of purpose. I have one client that will come in sometimes and tell me throughout the summer, it's always like, all I do is all these projects around the house, and it feels like I never get anything accomplished and do. But he does, like, he repaints, he redoes his floral stuff, he does all the stuff outside, he beautifies, like, he makes his space his peace zone. But he doesn't count that as being purposeful. And I say, that's your purpose. That is purpose. He's like, but that seems so nothing. But I'm like, but it makes you happy, right? Yes. The answer is always yes. And I said, does it give you peace? Yes. So what is missing? He's like, I don't know. I feel like it should be. There's a word, should. It should be this other thing.
To who?
And that's the question, is, who are we doing this for?
Yeah.
It's not about someone else's peace and happiness. It's about yours. So is it your purpose to make your house beautiful? Then do that. He's like, oh, well, all I'm doing is moving papers from one drawer to another and filing. And I'm like, okay, if that's not fulfilling enough for you, what is it? And then he always jumps to, like, I think I should go on a trip to Alaska. I'm like, okay. I'm like, but I know him. He won't pull the trigger, so to speak, on doing that, because that's scary to him.
Yeah.
Because he does what I'm saying from the beginning, which is, he's so like, okay, there's 10 steps to get to Alaska, but we're on the first one and we want to jump to 10, and it's too much effort and work, and it's overwhelming, and it gets us stuck. So that's another form of stagnant.
You can't fix 5 years from now by flipping a switch.
No.
It's the sum of the equation of all these days that lead up to 5 years from now. As your current circumstances is the sum of what's happened to you in the past.
Exactly.
That's why you have to pay attention to the day-to-day.
Right.
Because that's what adds up to your outcome.
Because it accumulates. Yep. And people don't realize, people by and large realize that their life before Dr. Kim is obviously to them, like, I have accumulated all this stuff in my brain, in my body, in my cognitions, and all these things. But then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, but you're still accumulating. That's like the foreign concept. It's like, what? Like, you're still accumulating, because your history is preceding itself, and you're just doing the same thing, but you're not seeing it like that's what it is, but you're repeating these patterns, and that, family of origin issues, relational issues, feeling, if you grew up in a negative environment in general, then you tend to have a negative outlook. It just, kind of one of those things. So, so when you're feeling that stagnant, or you're saying, I'm off course, like, that's what I hear. It's like, I'm off course. I'm not on the right path. I'm not doing the right thing. It's really about, just redirect, like, where can I put a moment in today to change today a little bit?
Right.
So, and that's like I gave you, like, growth is often less visible when you're in the middle of it. So you have to be able to really step back and go, oh, I can see this. I can see the accumulation of these events that have made it so that I've come to a point where I feel that I'm at a crossroads, and I say I'm stagnant, but are you really stagnant? You're just kind of at a crossroads, and you have to pivot. You have to pick a road, and that road may change and switch back.
You're not stagnant. You just gained a new outlook.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But people don't look at it like that.
Yeah.
They get scared of,
You have a new perspective.
Yes. They get very scared of that because they feel like it's wrong somehow, that that they're betraying themselves or whatever. So, so if you look at the evidence, I'm big on the realistic, rational, and reasonable, my 3 R's, right? Look at the evidence instead of relying on your feelings. People rely too heavily on what I should do, which creates a feeling of like shame, guilt, overwhelmed, depressed, all those things. If you really look at the evidence in front of you of what you've done and what you've been doing and not rely on the feelings, again, be responsive, not reactive, you'll realize that feeling stuck does not always mean that you've stopped growing. It means it's a signal or it's an alert to say, hey, we need to shift direction. So paying attention to that as a motivator, not a demotivator, and consider what say we started this in January. So consider from January to now, if you've been on this program and you've been doing it like a lot of people have, consider what you've actually learned and how you've responded to challenges, how you've had to pivot, what habits have you changed, what has worked, what have you tossed, what have you kept, who have you eliminated from your life, who have you not, who have you brought in. Like those are all things to really look for in the evidence of, oh, I feel really stagnant, and then your brain goes to mush. Instead, like, oh wait, let's activate our brain, really cognitively engage to think about that growth is often less visible when you're in the middle of it. So you have to stop yourself and look at it and say, what am I actually doing and what am I gaining here?
Growth is a course correction. Life is course corrections.
Right. But people don't like to do that. And I'm saying but because I know it speaks to the masses when people do that and they hear what you just said. It's like, yeah, but.
Yeah.
Right. And so the yes, but will get you into the stuck mode. Yes, but this, but yes, but I can't. Yes, it's like, no.
And isn't that quest for change the sign of a successful life? Because if you go down the journey, you learn more, you know more, you are more. So your goals should change.
And goals,
subtly or dramatically.
Exactly. And it's usually very subtly because usually people, say you're a person in your 40s, you didn't get to where you were dramatically.
Right.
It was a slow burn. It's kind of like when people say they were an overnight success. No one is an overnight success. It's a long, slow burn. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, overnight, it looks like the person's really successful. But that was a compilation and accumulation of many things that happen for course corrections, deviations, resets, all kinds of things. And no one's path is ever straight. And I think that's one of the misnomers of social media heavily that influences younger people, especially. And I think older too, that don't have good self-awareness, unfortunately, but especially younger people who are new to the world and really trying to figure it out, is that social media piece gives this image of like, it's, if you do this, it's like makes you amazing. If you do that, it's like immediate. It's like, that's not how this works. And it builds a fantasy life. I see so many young clients and they're, 13 to 18 years old, so fantastical in their thought process of like how life should be and will be. And the problem with it is time and again, I just see that there's no activation. There's no one on social media telling anyone, in their peer group, like, hey, this took me a while to get here. This took me these things. I had to put these things in motion. I had to put these things in motion to get to the spot. They just show, there's, people that have, millions of followers because I follow this one person because she knows somebody else that I know. And she's got all these, she's got 2 million followers. Her whole shtick is that she puts on prom gowns and basically looks cute and pretty, very cute. And she's built this over the past 3 or 4 years, and that's all she does. And that's it. She just does these dramatic videos down these long, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And that's an image that she gives to, like, I have clients that watch her and they're like, oh, I'm like, she's so great overnight. I'm like, she started doing that 7 years ago. This is because it was a beauty queen thing in the beginning and then it turned into this thing. But and she's making a business out of it because she's monetized, right? So, but
well, it's more of this impression that life happens to you, and it doesn't.
That's the thing and that's like with any of these goal setting things for having your rise moment is, if you want to rise, it doesn't happen to you. You have to make yourself rise. You have to actually you can't be inert. You can't. People think
you have to put yourself in position to take advantage.
Exactly, and people don't do that. They think either it will happen to them or that somehow it will be also like osmosisly. They'll be in the right place at the right time.
It's Justin Bieber's fault.
Yeah, I know, right? I know he's an exception to the rule, right?
But we see it happen. But Justin Bieber put some thought and some effort into what he was doing. It didn't just just find him on the street.
Right. I mean, and he was very fortunate that Usher saw him.
Yeah.
Like it was just a fluke of a scroll that Usher saw him, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's how he was found. But he'd been working that for a long time.
Yep.
Right.
Put himself in that position for that opportunity, which is what we're all looking to do.
Right. And that's the thing.
Hit the right door.
He put himself in the opportunity.
Yeah.
He didn't know what the opportunity was going to come to, but he was looking for the opportunity. He went looking for the opportunity.
This is back to that basic fear of the unknown. And some people look at it as a threat. Some people look at it as an opportunity. Some people take it on a case-by-case basis, which is the rational way to look at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and so if I would ask people to create a small experiment for themselves. And this is what I ask my clients when they're in this like stagnant or stuck mode, right? By the way, Rocky's coming to see you.
Okay.
He just left. He just left the building. He's coming. Here he comes. Do you see him?
Not yet.
For everyone that doesn't know, I have Rocky here today. So Rocky is the little Maltese that's with me, and he's just left my side and gone over to Lou on the other side of the screen. There he is, and we've lost Lou. Oh, Lou's got him. Okay, so I'm asking people to create a small experiment when you get stuck or when you feel stagnant. Rather than trying to redesign your whole life, test one kind of change. Do something different, like read a new article or a new thing on the subject matter that you're trying to do. Take a class or take a quick online thing. Talk to people outside of your usual circle. Volunteer, do something like different on the weekend that you wouldn't normally do, like step out of your zone. Like if you're normally Friday night, you go out to dinner, and Saturday you house clean, and Sunday you do, change that up. Yep. Take an experiment to see like, oh my gosh, how comfortable am I with this? Do something, take a travel, go to Winnipesaukee, go to Newport,
yeah,
or change. I think one of the easiest ways to like test out your growth is to just change your routine up and see how adaptable you are, and be like, okay, because that's important. Like if you usually get up and you have your coffee and you go walk the dog, and then you come back and you shower and you go to work, change it up, see how adaptable you can be, because it's a very basic experiment to see if you're adapting to change. That actually helps with the whole growth mindset of rising, because like, oh, did I have some movement in this over the past 6 months that now here I am in June, and I'm able to really have an open mindset to be useful, to have a new perspective, to have a different outlook at the end of today or at the end of this week, to be able to, I just kicked him in the nose. So that it changes in the moment that you go, oh, okay, I'm actually much further along the road than I thought, because people are measuring outcome goal versus daily moment to moment. Like, hey, I'm actually okay right now. This feels good. I can adapt.
Even being as antisocial as I am, I like to have random conversations. Even if it's stuff I already know. You're in the grocery store. How do you tell a ripe avocado? Just talk to somebody next to you.
Exactly.
Just have it talk.
And everybody's got a different opinion, by the way.
I know. And it's great for antisocials because it can be very quick. You're not locked into a conversation for 20 minutes.
Well, yes. And to that point, that open mindset to even do that like little grocery store conversation is open mindsets can get maintained through opening up the door to exposure to just new perspectives. Like you might know that avocado is ripe because it smells a certain way, or you tap on it like whatever.
Yep.
But just hearing someone else's view and opening yourself up to, oh, that was an okay experience.
Yeah. And they didn't call the cops, so it's okay. No,
it's so true,
because there's this fear of random conversations with people.
Exactly.
Because you don't know how they're going to react. But
Well, it's interesting. So I don't know if so on TikTok, I follow this guy, Damon Darling. One, he's a comedian, but also he's a multimillionaire that his family, I think it's his mother or his grandmother, his Mima, as he calls her. His Mima um, has a very successful oil rig
Okay.
in Texas.
Great.
He became multimillionaire, has lots of money. So what he does is he's a comedian, but also he goes out and he's a philanthropist. And what he does is he goes to like the local Walmart or the local Kroger, wherever it is, and he has his wife or his friend videotape, and he'll go out. He's very funny. He goes up to people, anybody from any walk of life, and he just basically starts, sometimes, I mean, it's always funny because some people are very, accepting, and some people are very standoffish, and some people are very rude, and some people are very sweet. But his whole thing is basically is that he walks up and says, hey, he'll start off by saying like, will you buy me this? Something like for a couple bucks. Like, I'm out of money. I don't have money. It's a test. He does it to see. And, a lot of times people will be like, of course I'll do that. Or don't worry about it. I'll get it for you and whatever. Or sometimes people are like, no, I can't do that. I don't have any money. So then he'll say funny things like, oh, are you poor? He does it like with this exaggeration, and it'll be like, no, I just don't, and so, but in the exchange, when the person accepts and opens themselves up to whatever it is he's offering or whatever kindness they give without any kind of persuasion per se, he ends up giving them, like, he'll buy all their groceries, or he'll give them cash, or he'll do something. He's like, I'm just wanting to help people because I have money and I don't want to sit on all my money and I'm bored. He goes, I'm bored, so I want to help you. But it's such an interesting experiment to watch what he does. If you want to catch him, you can find him on Reels, Damon Darling. But to the point of, he really rises to the moment because he resets other people's mindsets. You can see people shift. You can see some people really dig in.
Can imagine.
There's also an interesting, because it's a stranger, obviously. So it's a stranger, but also he is probably one of the only people that is of color in a very predominantly Caucasian area. And so you see a lot of interaction that gets very, you can tell there's a tightness about people around that. But he has this way about him to really change the perspective. And I think that it's a worthy watch for people to see how really changing your mindset into something as a new perspective, that sometimes people can be kind and compassionate, loving, and all those things, and that you can change and you can accept things and you can be part of that. And his whole goal is to get people to sort of see what he does and then do it too, give back. But I think that that's a growth mindset. That's that, hey, I'm afraid of the world around me, but having little moments of exposure to other things is mind opening and mind blowing. And it's like, instead of being like, no, stay over there, let's not talk, and don't look at me, and you're different and you're weird, and it's like, why?
I remember what a sensation was, the whole pay forward thing at Dunkin's.
I still do that.
I mean, people still do it. But it's a great experiment. It's a really interesting. That's a good mindset shift.
Well, I mean,
that changes your day.
And I think I might have talked about this on the show, and I know we talked about it, that time that the man that was in line in front of me had like $65 worth of groceries, and his EBT card he'd had a massive heart attack. His card wasn't working, and they weren't going to give him the. And watching this painfully happen, man, clearly he's like, I just got out of the hospital, and and he's like, I don't have anything else, and I'm like, oh my God. So I just said, and I moved him out of the way, and I just paid for his groceries. The man sobbed. He was like, no one's ever done anything this kind for me. It was just $65. I mean, understandably, not everyone has $65, but it was just $65. I'm like, and he was eating, he had like a chicken, he had like it was all normal, good, healthy food. It wasn't like he was trying to scam anybody. He was desperate. It's like, just do something different. And what an open feeling. And he said, what can I do? Can I pay you back? And I said, you can pay me back by doing this for someone when you have the opportunity to. That's all I asked him from him. And I hope he did. But it was just in that moment of being able to do something different, that is a mindset shift of I watched these 3 other people that were standing around that could have easily, the manager was standing there, the cashier was standing there, and the bagger was standing there. Somebody could have done something.
Yeah.
Helped him out. But it's just a matter of like, you can pivot and shift, but and I don't think it was because they're unkind people, because I don't think that of those 3 people.
No, they're on a chain.
They were in a mindset of, this is how this goes. This is what you have to do. Instead of it being like, okay, let's figure out how to help this man. Right. So, and that's just about how you get out of
they weren't empowered. So, yeah.
Right.
They were low on the chain.
Well, the manager wasn't, but,
yeah.
The manager could have done lots of things there. There's a variety of things. And you see that in other places that people do things to help people. But I think it's really about, seeing that there can be a generated perspective that's different and new, and really pivot a person into something different, because it's sort of like when you have assumptions, you're questioning the assumptions about things, like, what belief am I carrying right now about this person and their circumstance, and are you questioning it? So like, just, instead it's like, okay, can you change your belief system about something? Can you let go of a perspective that might be getting in the way of you just having a moment of satisfaction and joy and peace? Sometimes, in general, not talking about this scenario, but sometimes when we have an obstacle in our way, we can either really put forth a lot of effort, or we can really lack effort. And lacking effort is a really common choice for people, because it's like, oh, well, it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's that Eeyore moment. Why bother going out? And you have to come back, right? But when you get into that space of the obstacle has to take effort, it's so important to take the effort, because the success will come from that little teeny bit of effort, because it gives you an excitement of something new potentially, or that it taps into something about you that's wonderful and opening and all those things. So
stacking a win.
It is. And I was just, when you were saying stacking win, I was thinking about, like, not every stack win is going to be huge. It's just like saying, like, growth isn't rapid. People want instant gratification. Right. I have a client that keeps asking me, like, well, when will I feel better?
They want an epiphany.
It's like, you're 60 something years old and you just started therapy like 6 weeks ago for the first time in your life. And you've been jumping treatments for like 10 years and you don't stick with anything more than 3 or 4 days at a time, but you want to have to feel better. You how about stand still for 5 seconds and just, and be present in the moment. And I keep reiterating to this client, I keep saying, like, you got to give it a couple years. And they just look at me like, a couple of years. I'm like, you just spent 60 something years doing this. You're worried about a couple years, but in their mind, they're still in the non-growth mindset.
You built that prison in 60 years.
Exactly.
It doesn't come down in a day.
Exactly. And that's such a hard concept when people want instant gratification of a growth moment. And they don't want to necessarily put the work into doing the growth moment. They want it to happen to them. If it doesn't, life is unfair. Things don't work out for them, right? It's always about that. So it's accepting I call it periods of consolidation, right? So it's not every season is a season of growth. So if you feel stagnant, consolidate that in your mind and know that you might not have some growth for a little bit. We plateau and then we move again. It's kind of like weight loss, right? You have to switch it up when you get to a point and you've lost 25 pounds. All of a sudden, the thing you've been doing for the past 6 months isn't working. Why? Because now it's time, your body's gotten used to it. So you have to change it. Just like your mindset, you have to change the mindset. So sometimes when it feels stagnant, it's actually a period where you're actually integrating maybe something previous that you've learned, maybe something that needs to be learned, so that the next stage can come and emerge for you and have an opportunity. Whatever you do, don't shut down to the moment of I'm stuck, because when you do that, then you take all options off the table. And that's what happens to a lot of people. And that's why it feels like people then go into I'm back to square one. I didn't get anywhere. No, it's because you lost perspective on the arise moment. You have shifted away from your direction and you basically shut it down. And that's a big mistake.
It's not flipping a switch.
No.
It's course corrections.
Right. So here's 3
And again, this massive problem of society right now, especially here in this country, is things are happening to me.
Right.
I have no
Well,
control over my outcomes.
I think that's in a lot of places.
Yeah.
I think it's the Western culture in general, at least from my experience.
I
Right,
have no control over my
right.
outcomes. Things are happening to me.
Exactly.
And that's easier because you can
In
just
their
play
mind,
the victim.
in people's mind, it's easier because then
Yeah.
it's like I don't have to take responsibility and accountability for anything that I do, right? Or say or whatever. So I ask people to use these 3 questions when they are in these moments. And you can use this for lots of different things. To your point of what you're just saying is, what am I doing now that I want to continue?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is, like take inventory. What am I doing now that I want to continue? What am I doing now that I want to stop?
Mm-hmm.
People hate that question because they're like, oh God, I have to stop something, right? And what is one thing that I want to start doing in the next 30 days? I try, me, I try to keep it to 2 weeks to 30 days.
Yep.
When people come in and start their new therapy process with me and all the things, I always say, what do you want in the next month? And they look at me like, really? Because when I say, what do you want overall, that I always get, I don't want to feel anxiety anymore. And I say, nope, we're not doing that. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, that's down the line. Right now, what do you want in the next 30 days? And then I want to feel better. Okay, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Right. So getting really specific with what is one thing that you want to start doing in the next 30 days that's going to help this. Most people say, I don't know. So then I have to give something as an example, like, okay, well, we're going to go out for a walk twice a week. We're going to say hello to 5 people a day. Things that are basic, and they look and like, how's that going to change? I'm like, watch. Just watch.
Yeah.
Even with what I just told you all as a listening audience, go out for a walk twice a week that you haven't been doing, or go say hello to 5 people all over your resource base on a daily. Make someone smile. Watch how your day changes. Watch how your perspective shifts. Watch how inspired you can become because you have actually done something that you're not used to.
Right.
It's a very big difference.
And no one died.
And at the end of I always say at the end of the day, no one blew up in flames.
Right.
Yes. No one spontaneously combust and no one died.
Yep.
Right. I do have clients who will say to me, but they could. And I'm like, yes, of course that would be your answer. Yeah, but yes, but when you ask yourself those questions, what it does is it reveals whether or not you need to major course correct, or if it's just minor things. 99% of my experience with my client base, and even in my personal life, they're minor course corrections, but people just have to take the moment to ask themselves that little exercise. What do I want to do? What do I want to stop? And, what do I want? One thing I can do in 30 days. Because usually that ends up being like, oh, I did one thing, but now I actually did 10 more things, So what makes you feel off course right now is a sense that you're no longer growing, but that's not true. That's a mindset. Remember, that's only a mindset. So the sense that you're growing in a direction that you don't actually want could be because you're just,
you're digging the hole.
You're self-sabotaging that. And you've got to be aware that you're doing that. And you have to be out of the mindset that life happens to you, that you're creating it. Oftentimes when I say stuff like that to clients, they'll say, are you saying it's my fault? That's what they hear because that's what they've been socialized into. Or are you punishing me? Because I'll say, well, here are your choices.
That's why people don't accept that reality.
Right.
Yeah.
I gave a choice yesterday to somebody as options. I said, you have the option to function despite your dysfunction, or you have the option to get on a plane and come home. And they were like, are you punishing me? I was like, no, distorted perception, right?
Yep.
I said, no, I'm giving you options. Like you have to either be on your vacation and function despite your dysfunction, or you need to get on a plane and come home because you're not having a good time and change your latitude. They adjusted the attitude really quickly. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, because they were feeling sorry for themselves. They were having moments of dysregulation. They were also doing some attention-seeking behavior. There was all, it's a bigger story, but creating the option for the person so they could think of their course direction in a different way instead of it being like, oh, in their mind, they generate threat, right? Bear in the back of the cave, threat generate. Like, what do you mean I have to come home? Well, that's an option. It's not, it's just like, if you're not going to function and you feel this bad, you should just come home. But they didn't really want to do that. And I knew that.
It's funny because people always believe in the negative aspects of this. They all know, if I think I'm going to blow this job interview, I'm going to blow this job interview, or I'm going to fail this test, I'm going to fail this test. They understand the power of the negative, but they don't understand the power of the positive.
Right. Yeah. Because
until they experience it a couple of times.
Right. And the power, but people have, so here's the thing about that is people have experienced the power of the positive, but they don't focus on it and hold it and integrate it. The rise part, the integration, they integrate the negative ones when they have the negative experience, because you can have it's tried and true. 500 good experiences. All it takes is one to knock it off. Right? You could have 1 million good experiences.
Yep.
Those don't integrate. They integrate for the moment. And as soon as you're like,
because we're threat focused.
Exactly. I always liken it to like the fact that like I knew a lot of pageant queens growing up. So, and a lot of really sort of high end famous athletes. Right?
Yep.
When they were on top and they were winning, everything was great. One coach or one pageant person said, "You're fat." It was like their whole life ended because all the wins went away.
Yep.
I'm like, where did they go? And because I had my yummy person, right, that I've told you about before, my emotional yummy person, when those things happened to me, I just was like, whatever. Like I was able to do the whatever. And I think that's because I had I didn't think it. I knew I had a person that was always like, you don't listen to those things. Those things actually, if those come in and they're not good resource messages, you just toss those. And I don't think a lot of people have enough of those types of people in their life, because my yummy person, always overrode the crazy stuff.
Yep.
Very lucky. God love her and rest her soul. But, but that's, and if you're an adult now and you don't have a yummy person, a person who emotionally supports you, you know that they are that person for you, you got to find someone, because they're the person that is going to give you that balance of like, don't listen to that stuff, bypass it, remember what you have looking for and all that stuff.
How about being that person?
Or being that person.
Yeah.
Right.
Create your own safe space.
Well, because then when you have that, you've integrated it's like good therapy. When people do good therapy in my office, when they go out in the world, they take me with them in their head. I'm there and present because they remember, what would Dr. Kim say? And patients will tell me that. They'll say, I just thought, I had you on the top of my head thinking, what would she do right now? That is actually good therapy. That means that you don't have to call me. You don't have to contact me. You already have it. Okay, I've been through this enough to know what would she say to help me pivot this moment. And I hear that all the time, which I know is my moments of good therapy with people, is that they have taken and integrated who and the work we do out into the world. And that's what it is. That's what you want.
Safe space, which is often what therapy presents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, so hopefully this helps people in the middle of the summer right now, or the middle of the year, but it's coming into summer. If you feel like you're stagnant, if you feel like you're doing whatever to not grow, you are. Reflect. Ask yourself those questions. Find a new thing for one thing for the 30 days. Do something different. Change your perspective. A very good way of shifting your perspective is sleep. If you sleep, your perspective on the next morning or even if you take a nap, often you'll wake up and it takes a few seconds, sometimes minutes, sometimes a while, all of a sudden be like, oh my God, there was that thing. Because your whole brain resets.
Yep.
So good sleep, even if it's a nap, that can shift perspective. And also walking outside and putting your face in the sun and touching your feet to the grass physically changes the whole body perspective, because it changes our chemical balance completely. And there's a
physiological.
It's a whole body of literature that supports nature therapy as therapy. Is just go, and it's not, you don't have to go walk in the woods, even though that's a good therapy. All you have to do is just get outside. So many people sit inside all day and never see the sun. They never go out and just walk across their driveway, across their lawn. Get outside for 5 minutes. It changes the chemicals in your brain, the dopamine, the GABA, all the neurotransmitters, serotonin, all the feel goods, everything. And that makes a difference, because that allows the opening of the window or the door to an opportunity shift in your brain for perspective to get unstuck. So that makes it easier to rise to the moment. So
excellent.
Yeah, there it is.
I think it's very important to attend that first 15 minutes before you go to sleep too, or whatever it is. That's a very important time. And having skills to deal with that is important.
Very important.
My mind used to run.
Most people's mind run, and then they lay in the bed doing that.
Yep.
Right. I know.
You got to fix that.
Yes. Or you sit and watch Netflix till 1 a.m. because you want to finish the binge watch of the show, and then you're stuck on it when it's over thinking about it. Or you scroll or do whatever. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Reading usually puts people to sleep because it's soothing and relaxing, but a lot of people don't like to read. But I'm a big proponent of telling people to read. I myself typically don't read before bed, but I tell people to do it. But that's just because it's not one of the...
I'm struggling, and people roll their eyes, but when I'm struggling, it's a mental gratitude list.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, and all you have to do, you don't even have to write it. I just tell people to do like
just run it down in your head.
3 good things about the day, or 3 gratitude, based moments of your
what
your
makes
life.
You happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Something that's joyful.
Yeah.
Right. Or whatever. So, or even what you're looking forward to the next day, and if you say, I don't have anything to look forward to, then go back to, okay, so what did I do today? And how can I change it? Right. Stop waiting for it to happen to you. Usually when people say, I didn't have anything good happen, it's because you're not making it happen for yourself. You're waiting for it to happen to you.
Right.
And then you're victim.
Well, if you don't have something to look forward to in the next day, that's job 1.
Right.
Find something.
Right.
Create
well,
something.
That's that purpose.
Yeah.
You have to have a sense of purpose every single day. And if your sense of purpose is to get up and put your feet on the grass, that's enough to get you started. People think, oh, but that's not enough. In your life, if that's not happening, it is enough. You just have to give yourself credit.
Sit on a deck with a cup of coffee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Then, by the way, you get to make a check mark.
Exactly. And people like
stack a win.
People like check marking.
Yep.
So, all right, y'all. So I hope everyone has a great Father's Day, and I will see you all back here to rise healthy and successful next week.